Our modern world, it often feels, well, it relentlessly celebrates power that is assertive, direct, really visible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like the titans of industry, the loud voices in politics.
Exactly. Leaders who demand attention. But what if the greatest power, the most profound influence, actually lies in its exact opposite?
Something receptive, maybe quiet, even hidden.
Yes, like a deep, still valley.
That's precisely the surprising alternative Laozi offers us. And today, we're embarking on a deep dive into one of his most mystical, and I think it's fair to say, profoundly feminine metaphors for the Tao.
Chapter 6,
Yeah.
right, famously known as the Spirit of the Valley.
That's the one.
So our mission today is to really unpack this ancient wisdom. We'll explore its many layers, look at interpretations from various scholars, and together we'll discover its profound relevance for our lives right now. Think of this as your essential shortcut, maybe, to understanding a truly unique philosophy,
One that just might change how you think about strength itself.
especially your own strength. Okay, so to begin, let's turn to the source material itself. The Arthur Waley translation of Chapter 6. It's incredibly poetic, isn't it? Almost like a hymn.
It really is. Beautifully put.
It reads, "The valley spirit never dies.
Hmm.
It is named the mysterious female.
Powerful imagery.
And the doorway of the mysterious female is the base from which heaven and earth sprang.
The very origin.
It is there within us all the while, and in use it is inexhaustible."
Wow. When you first hear those lines, what immediately captures your attention? For me, it's that intensely mystical language.
Definitely. Valley spirit, mysterious female. These aren't exactly everyday terms for power or cosmic origins.
Not at all. And then that final concept, something so fundamental, so profound, is inexhaustible, yet crucially within us all the while.
It really invites a sense of wonder, doesn't it? It makes you want to look deeper.
Absolutely. Demands it, almost.
It truly is a paradox, something so powerful yet so quiet and accessible. How is such a profound concept distilled into such simple words? So, okay, let's start peeling back these layers. What exactly is the valley spirit in this context?
Well, the mainstream philosophical take, championed by influential scholars like Wang Gai, sees the valley spirit as a direct metaphor for the Tao's essence.
Okay, the essence of the Tao.
Yeah. Think about a valley. What are its core characteristics?
Mm.
It's fundamentally empty, right?
Mhm.
Which creates space for things to exist, to flow into it.
Right, it makes room.
It's low,
Mm.
which symbolizes humility, that willingness to be beneath, to let things settle. And it's incredibly receptive,
Accepting what comes in.
accepting all that flows into it without resistance, without
Yeah.
judgment. So in essence, it embodies what's often called the power of emptiness.
The power of emptiness. That's a beautiful phrase. And yeah, quite counterintuitive to how we usually think about strength. But I remember reading about another, maybe more intimate interpretation.
Yes, there were definitely other ways it was understood. Liu Xiaogan, another significant scholar, he took a much more personal, sort of internal approach.
Ah, okay. How so?
He saw the valley spirit less as this grand cosmic metaphor and more as the spirits within our own internal organs.
Really? Within us?
Yes. For him, the path to longevity and true well-being wasn't about external striving, but about nourishing these vital internal spirits.
That's fascinating. A shift from the universal to the very intimate.
It really is. It suggests that these big cosmic principles can also be found mirrored right inside our own bodies.
So it's clearly not just one fixed idea. These different perspectives already reveal deeper layers. And speaking of layers, the text then introduces another incredibly potent image. The mysterious female, xuanpin. That's quite a symbol, isn't it?
It truly is. Very potent. This names the ultimate creative source of the entire universe as, well, a mysterious, life-giving, feminine principle.
And that's striking because it's explicitly not a traditional father god figure.
Exactly. Which really challenges many conventional, often patriarchal, ideas about creation and cosmic origin. It's quite radical, actually.
And didn't some scholars suggest roots in even older beliefs?
Yes. People like Dai Jianye trace this concept potentially back to ancient fertility worship, directly connecting this cosmic valley, this source, to the female form, like a womb, the primal source of life.
So it's not just poetry. It might tap into humanity's most ancient understandings of creation. And didn't scholar Su Che draw an interesting distinction between these two terms, the valley spirit and the mysterious female?
He did, and it's quite helpful for clarity. Suche differentiates them by saying the valley spirit represents the Tao's virtue, its intrinsic qualities like emptiness and receptivity.
Okay, it's nature.
Right, whereas the mysterious female represents the Tao's function, its active generative power of creation.
Ah, I see. The essence versus the manifestation. The quiet potential versus the boundless output. Which naturally brings us to the doorway of the mysterious female. If the mysterious female is the ultimate creative source, then her doorway must be incredibly significant.
It is indeed. It's described as the portal through which all existence emerges. It solidifies this feminine creative principle as the very root, the origin point of the cosmos.
A source from which everything flows.
And Zen master Hanshin de King took this idea a step further. He saw it not as some static gate, fixed in time,
Right.
but as a dynamic hub, a center for the continuous flow of life and death, constantly transforming and renewing everything.
So not a one-time creation event, but an ongoing process, a continuous wellspring.
A ceaseless dance of creation and dissolution, as he might put it.
And the text emphasizes that this power is inexhaustible, and crucially, there within us all the while. That makes this ancient wisdom so personal, so accessible.
It's a key point.
But how can something so powerful be inexhaustible? What's the secret to that boundless nature?
Well, the text itself gives us a clue. It explains its power is inexhaustible, precisely because its use is effortless. The term is ibukin,
Effortless, meaning?
meaning it doesn't require strenuous exertion or striving or depleting resources. It just happens. Hanshin de King, again from that Zen perspective, elaborates on this. He says the Tao works with no mind.
No mind. Acting
not what
without, on
happens.
just striving.
Exactly. Without ego getting in the way. It just creates naturally, like a tree growing without, trying to grow, or a river flowing downstream without effort. It's an automatic, unforced unfolding.
So what does this all mean for us then? It suggests true power isn't about pushing harder, maybe.
It seems to suggest that. That impact comes from aligning with a natural flow, where effortless action leads to boundless, ceaseless creation and influence.
Imagine if your greatest achievements came from letting go, not striving harder. That's quite a thought.
It really is.
Okay, we've explored the ancient roots and the philosophical depths, but the real power of these ideas, for me, often lies in their enduring relevance. How does this profound wisdom actually translate into actionable insights for us today? Where do you see it connecting?
That's the vital question, isn't it?
Right.
And one of the most fascinating modern interpretations comes from scholar Liu Xiaogan. He introduces a concept he calls ontological feminism.
Ontological feminism.
That sounds provocative. It makes me think of gender dynamics straight away, but I suspect it's more nuanced here.
It absolutely is. And it's really crucial to clarify Liu Xiaogan's view. He argues against a literal link to, say, ancient matriarchal societies or directly elevating women in a modern political sense.
Okay, so it's not about that.
No. Instead, he highlights that Laozi's philosophy, even though it was primarily, men talking to men back then, strategically uses these feminine metaphors. He uses them to urge a male-dominated society, especially rulers and leaders, to adopt virtues symbolized by the feminine.
Ah, so virtues like receptivity, nurturing, non-aggression. Exactly those. The purpose isn't necessarily to say women are inherently better rulers, but to encourage the adoption of these specific qualities, regardless of the leader's gender.
I see. So it's about balancing different approaches.
Precisely. He suggests this approach is a path to reduce conflict, to create a more harmonious world by balancing what we might see as traditional masculine, action-like, direct assertion force with this feminine receptivity and yielding.
And it's not weakness. I think Daijianye mentioned that.
Yes, Daijianye adds that crucial point. This isn't passive weakness. It's a conscious, wise choice to be humble, to yield, even when you're in a position of immense power. It's strength expressed through non-contention, through choosing not to fight.
That truly reframes it, a deliberate strategic approach to power. And this concept is ontological feminism could offer a deeper philosophical grounding for modern feminism, like a meta-feminism.
That's Liu Xiaogan's suggestion. It provides an ontological and methodological foundation, a lens to look through. And, to ground this in the real world, we can look at history. Think about famous female rulers. Cleopatra, Wu Zixin, Cixi, even someone more recent like Margaret Thatcher. They didn't inherently embody these feminine traits in the Laozi sense, did they?
Not typically, no. They often had to be quite assertive, even aggressive.
Exactly. Because they operated within prevailing societal values that often celebrated what was seen as masculine, heroism, aggression, direct control. They had to play by the existing rules to hold power.
So their gender didn't automatically mean they followed Laozi's feminine principles.
Right. And conversely, you have examples of male leaders, like during China's Wenjing period in the Han Dynasty. They did practice Laozi-style non-action, or Wu Wei.
Governing with a later hand.
Yes, when societal values aligned with those principles, they fostered peace and prosperity by sort of allowing things to unfold naturally rather than constantly intervening.
That really highlights it's about the qualities, the receptivity, the humility, the nurturing, not the gender of the person in charge.
Absolutely. Which raises an important question for you, the listener. Is Laozi advocating for women specifically? Or is he advocating for certain qualities, symbolized by the feminine, that our society often overlooks in its relentless pursuit of more visible, assertive power and control?
That's a brilliant distinction. It makes this ancient wisdom incredibly relevant today. It's about shifting our whole understanding of strength. Okay, so here's where it truly comes alive for our own lives, connecting this to our contemporary challenges. Let's talk about creativity.
Yes. In the modern world, we often assume creativity comes from intense effort, right? Endless brainstorming, forcing ideas out.
Whiteboards full of frantic scribbles.
Exactly. But the Valley spirit suggests a completely different path, maybe a more sustainable one. True breakthroughs, those aha moments, often rise not from that forceful effort, but from becoming a Valley ourselves.
How so?
By emptying our minds of preconceived notions, of assumptions, quieting that inner noise of judgment, and becoming truly receptive to new, unexpected insights.
Making space.
Making space. It allows ideas to emerge effortlessly, organically, rather than being chased down with frantic energy. It's about cultivating the conditions for inspiration, not wrestling it into submission.
So making space for innovation to unfold rather than manufacturing it. I like that. And what about leadership and burnout, which is such a huge issue today?
Oh, definitely. The Valley Spirit offers a wonderfully sustainable leadership model here. It's a stark contrast to that frantic, constant effort we often see, which inevitably leads to exhaustion and burnout.
We see it everywhere.
We do. A wise leader in the spirit of the Valley acts as a stable, receptive center. They create a safe, nurturing space.
Like the valley holds water.
Precisely. A space for their team's creativity, talent, and energy to flourish. Their influence becomes inexhaustible, not because they're constantly pushing or driving,
but because they nurture collective energy.
Exactly. They empower others rather than draining everyone through micromanagement or endless demands. It's leadership by presence, not by pressure.
That's a profound shift. From leader as driving force to leader as supportive environment, allowing others to fill the space you create.
Okay, this sounds great philosophically, but how can we actually practice this? Do you have a concrete step, a simple exercise we could try?
Absolutely. Here's a simple, actionable practice. Let's call it the receptive pause.
Okay, the receptive pause. I like it.
Before you start a significant task, maybe preparing a presentation, writing something important, or even just before entering a difficult conversation, take just 2 minutes. Find a quiet spot if you can. Maybe close your eyes. Now, instead of meticulously planning your approach, rehearsing your lines, strategizing your moves,
Which is what I usually do.
right? Instead, consciously try to become a valet. Actively let go of your agenda, quiet your inner chatter, all those demanding voices. Adopt a posture of pure, open listening, not just with your ears, but with your whole being.
Just open. Then proceed with your task or conversation, and simply notice what emerges from that quiet, receptive space. You might be surprised at the insights, the words, the solutions that arise seemingly effortlessly.
That sounds challenging, to really let go of control and expectation, especially in high-stakes moments. But the potential upside, tapping into that inexhaustible wellspring, feels immense. It's definitely a different muscle to train.
It is. But Chapter 6 of the Laozi is truly, as you said earlier, a beautiful hymn to this different kind of power. One that is inherently feminine in its symbolism, deeply receptive, wonderfully quiet, and endlessly creative.
It's a powerful reminder that genuine strength often emerges from stillness, from that emptiness.
And it leaves us with this profound understanding, doesn't it? That this inexhaustible wellspring of life, this deep source of wisdom and influence, it isn't somewhere far off.
It's right here.
It's right there, within each and every one of us. Accessible if we only learn how to tap into it, how to become that valley.
So, building on that idea, the valley spirit as a creative source within us, here's a final thought for you to consider. How much of our societal striving, our constant pushing and achieving, is actually working against this natural flow?
That's a big question.
It is. What genuine societal innovation, what true peace, what profound harmony might our world experience if we consciously embrace this power of emptiness on a broader, maybe even global scale? Could this ancient wisdom offer a path not just to personal serenity, but to real collective transformation by fundamentally challenging our very understanding of what strength is?